What is up? I am postponing cleaning my entire room, which I so badly need to do. This is like the only clean corner, and yeah. But I'm postponing my room. Thought I'd give a little bit of a story time because I don't really have any other interesting things, but like I want to film, you know? So I figured I would tell you about a time that first I thought there was a ghost, second I thought that someone was outside my room, third some creepy guy showed up, and yeah, probably one of the most like calm I've ever been in a situation where it could have been bad. I don't know. Maybe it's not a big deal, who knows? I don't know. Like, okay, so it all started, I don't know when it was. I want to say it was like summerish time, maybe like a year and a half ago or something. And my mother was out of town with some of her friends in Florida, and so she was gone. I had been babysitting kind of late, so I got back around maybe 11:30, midnight, something like that, and I'm getting ready for bed. So the way that my room is like on the corner of our house. I have one side of my room facing the street side, and then one side of my room facing the neighbor's house. I was like hearing some sort of like I was hearing some like scratching, but also didn't really sound like we've had mice in our house before because our house is really old, and so I know the difference between kind of like a small animal and something that sounds bigger. And there was also some like rustling of like leaves or something, and so I quick shut off my lights in my room and I just froze. I think this is the scariest part of like everything. So I just froze and I'm like, what? And I quick got my sister. I was like, Sarah, you need to listen to this. What is going on? And it would stop and then like keep going, and I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't an animal. I think that it didn't sound like it was really coming from, I don't know. It kind of sounded like coming from the basement, but also kind of sounding like it was coming from right outside the side of my house. And I was like, man, I don't know what this is. My sister heard it and she was like freaking out. We're trying not to turn on any lights. I'm like trying to look through the blinds to see if I see anything, but since it's so dark, I just can't. And I was like, this is actually scary. And at that point in my life, I didn't get scared by a lot. There have been other things that have happened that like make me scared now, but this, I was like, usually I'm the kind of person that's kind of like, no big deal, like it's fine, whatever. Oh my gosh, I am actually scared. This doesn't sound like an animal. It's not some mouse in here, because I know the difference between a mouse sound and like something that's actually being loud and making loud noises, right? I quick got my dad. I was like, Dad, there's like somebody or something scratching outside, right outside my window. And he was like, it's late, I'm asleep. And I was like, no, seriously, like come listen, it won't stop. And it's been going on for like a solid 5-10 minutes. So he got up, he heard it too, and he was like confused. We didn't know where it was coming from. We were trying to figure that out, if it was coming from like downstairs, because my room is like right above my basement area, kind of one of the older parts of it, I guess. And we just couldn't tell where it was coming from. It sounded like not in the walls, but like, I don't know, it was weird. It was just a weird sound, you know, like something that didn't seem to have an explanation. So I'm like, is this ghosties? Like, hello? Is this a person trying to like break in? Like, that was my thought, which is kind of funny, but we'll get to it later. And so I was literally like, my dad's like, and he opens up my window, the screen part, so that you could talk outside. And he was like, hey, whoever you are, you need to leave. You need to get away from our house, which was interesting because he was like, it's got to be an animal, but he said, whoever you are, as if he was talking to something that would understand him. And all of a sudden, it stopped. And it stopped for pretty much the whole night. There was maybe a little bit more shuffling, but yeah, it was kind of weird. Finally, I calmed down, went to bed. So next day, that's like a little like preface, right? So the next day, my mom's already gone still. My dad was gonna be going on this like men's retreat golf thing, and I think I had been home. My sister had just gotten home from like a friend's house or something, and when she was being dropped off, she like said that there was some guy that kind of was like slowly walking through our neighborhood, being extra slow at our house, which she's kind of more of the person that notices those things and kind of gets like more easily aware and alert, where I'm just kind of like, people walk in our neighborhood, like it's has a walking path, whatever. I'm still the kind of person that like brushes things off. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. We have a pretty long yard and we live on the Mississippi River, and we have a pontoon. So my sister and I think we're both tanning on the boat. The boat was still connected to the dock, but we were just laying on there tanning, kind of just chilling. And my dad was like, hey, like he yelled from the house. He's like, hey guys, I'm gonna leave. I love you guys. I was like, bye dad, love you, see you Thursday, right? So I had said that pretty loud because it is kind of a far distance away from my house to like the boat, I guess. We kind of have a long backyard. And so he left, and my sister and I, it's kind of like no big deal, just us two home. I don't know, 19 at the time or something. Like I was an adult, it wasn't new or anything. So my parents had spent like 3 weeks in Europe before, like one night, whatever. So, you know, we kind of were doing things as normal. I remember it was a Friday night, my dad left on a Thursday. I think we said see you Sunday. It was a it was a Thursday night because the garbage had to be taken out and the garbage truck comes on Friday mornings. It was like now 10:30 or something at night, getting kind of late. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go bring the garbage to the end of the driveway. So I rolled it out, and my sister was like, wow, you're so brave for like going out there at night, whatever. You know, as I was in my neighborhood is very small, very quiet, very dead. Like I heard nothing, I saw nothing, there was no one coming from either way, right? Which, I mean, not that I was looking for someone, but the fact that like, you know, I just was being aware, like looking, you know, being like, okay, right, left, right, check both sides of the street, whatever, even though I wasn't crossing the street. So I brought the garbage out. I think I also brought the recycling out. I was out there for a bit. Still, my neighborhood is dead. Has like not many people live there. It's just one little block. I was going through the house, making sure all the doors are locked, the door downstairs, the door, like the front door, and then we have another door. And so I was just making sure those are all locked, you know, whatever. And keep in mind, like my neighborhood, like nothing happens in my neighborhood. It's pretty, okay, actually that's false. We had a drug bust once when my parents moved there. There was a meth house, but like for the most part it's quiet. Like I realized, I was like, oh, I need to let the dog out before we go to bed. Don't want her peeing overnight somewhere, or peeing in the bed or something. I was like, I'm gonna let the dog out. So we have one of those zip line leashes, so it's like you hook her on the leash and like she's able to move. I don't have to hold the leash. So I open the front door as I'm reaching for the leash that's outside, and the motion sensor light turns on. As I'm grabbing it, I'm about to hook my dog up on the leash, and all of a sudden, boom, the light comes on, and there's a man standing right where the light of the motion sensor light stops, and kind of right in the shadows, like right there. So he had been like walking up, and it just turns on. And keep in mind, this was like a minute or two after I had taken the garbage out. And I'm kind of like the person that's kind of like, whatever, like I'm not gonna like run and hide and slam the door in his face because I don't want him to know I'm scared of him or something. And so I was just kind of like, hello? And he goes,
does Julie live here?
And that's my mom's name. And I was like, and this part I was kind of being stupid. I like didn't know what else to say. I was trying to like keep my calm. And I was like, yeah, but she's not here right now. And he was like,
okay.
And I probably shouldn't have said that, oh, it was Julie's house, whatever. Instead of like a normal person, when you walk away from someone's front door, he walked around the side of my house, right where my room is. So he walked that corner where I was hearing things. He walked to basically the side of my house, like towards the backyard, which is weird. And like not a normal thing that anyone does. You don't walk through someone's backyard. It's not like there's more houses back there. It's a river. Like, we don't have anything back there. Especially because that's right where I was hearing something the night before. You get me? Like, probably connected now. You know, he didn't just walk back into the neighborhood, you know, like a normal person does, walk back through your driveway and, like, leave. Like, went around to the side of my house. That's weird. So I close the door, lock it, and I'm just kind of, like, thinking, I'm like, that was weird, right? Like, you know, and so my sister's like, what, who is that? And I was like, I don't know, some random guy. And we were like, oh. And then I realized, that's not, like, right. Like, you know, my mom, I know my mom doesn't know him because, like, I know everyone my mom knows. My sister was, like, freaking out because she's always the one that's more alert and more, like, aware of things. I'm like, I think it's okay, but something in me thinks that it's not okay, so what do I do? My sister, Sarah, she's like, I'm gonna call Dad or something. Or maybe I was calling my dad, or you need to call Dad or something. So I call him, and I was like, hey, were you expecting anyone to come to the house? It's like 11 o'clock now, you know, weird. And then I explained kind of what happened and, like, what he looked like, and he's like, I would probably call the cops if I was you. I don't remember. One of us called the cops, and then both, like, we're both getting a little freaked out. My house, because it's on a river, is, like, full of windows so you can get the full view. So, like, there is no place to necessarily not be in view. We're standing in the middle of the hallway, like, on the floor, right? Trying to find a corner just in case, because he walked through the backyard. That's where all of the windows are. We don't have walls, it's like windows, right? And so we call 911. We're like, hey, this is kind of a suspicious person. Don't know if it's bad or whatever. And then as I was describing him to the police came. We had called one of our, like, friends, and we're like, hey, are you guys still up? Can we possibly spend the night with you? And so the police came, and we described him to him, and as I'm describing him and kind of what had happened the night before, which I thought was weird, because I had thought it kind of sounded human the night before when someone was, like, hustling around the side of my house, right? And my sister was like, oh my gosh, that's the guy that was walking back and forth looking at our house this afternoon. And that was about the time that we yelled to my dad, bye, see you. So he knew that someone else was leaving. Maybe he read our mail and found my mom's name. And so the police were like, yeah, a lot of people have been, you know, kind of staking out houses to break into over the weekend when people leave. That's really, really possible. So they kind of just, like, you know, they said they were gonna walk through. They were really fast at responding, which was good. So, you know, by the time that they had gotten there, he may have already left because, you know, it was all, like, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. But yeah, so, like, super weird. And so we figured he probably got my mom's name from some mail. My mom was like, I do not know a person like that. We kind of live by some, like, kind of a sketchy area. Like, my neighborhood's safe and kind of full of, like, older people. People who walk through my neighborhood aren't necessarily the most safe people, probably. We've had other stuff happen in my neighborhood, which could be a whole nother, like, story. But, which probably is even more scary than this, but I feel like this was more happening to our house specifically. I was like, okay, this person, like, probably just tried to break into our house. He knows who lives here now and knows that no one's there. And yeah, probably was staking it out the night before because there's, like, a small window that goes into our basement that probably could be easy to get into. So, long story short, people, be safe. Don't yell, hey, goodbye, you're leaving, you know. Not everything is a mouse. Yeah, that's basically all I have. It's a story that I just, you know, I tell at parties, you know, kind of like, oh yeah, you want to hear another creepy thing? It was kind of scary, kind of spooky. Who was he? We still don't know. No one ever saw him. He never came back. I mean, the cops probably scared him off, and now, like, they've kind of redone the area where everything is, so my neighborhood's a lot more safe now. Scary, but I think the scariest part was me opening the door, and, like, as I kind of stepped outside, the motion sensor light turned on, and he's just like you could see him, but he was, like, right where the light ended and the shadow started. 11 o'clock at night. Spooky. Yeah, that's basically all I have for right now. Just thought I would film this because it was kind of fun. Little, you know, like, story time. I don't have anything else to talk about really. I really want to start making more videos. So I know I only have like 70 subscribers, but like if you watch this, comment below, comment on my social media what would be fun to watch. I have a couple videos edited on my hair because I just redid it. It looks nice and cute, even though I probably am damaging all my hair. So yeah, let me know what you think, and hopefully I'll be posting more. Peace out, guys.